all been told that foreign aid is the silver bullet for Africa's development. And let's be honest, it's hard to disagree. Just look at the difference aid have made in the heart of Africa. For instance, this picture is from 1950. And now, compare it to 75 years later in 2025. Impressive progress, right? Naturally, the European Union wants to be part of this success. That's why we created an African trust fund filled with 5 billion euros of your hard-earned tax money. So let's take a look on how the money was spent over the years and witness some of the remarkable economic progress that has transformed Africa into the economical powerhouse that we see today. Thankfully, the European Court of Auditors has done a special report on this very topic. So let's dive in. We all know education is the key to success. And according to many in Brussels, the EU has done wonders for African education. The Court of Auditors found, for instance, that no one has done more to equip African schools with electrical blenders than the European Union. There was just one slight problem. Most of the schools we provided don't even have electricity. Moral of the story, give an African a fish and you'll feed him for a day. Give him an electrical blender and he shall starve to death. But education isn't everything. For real democracy to thrive, you need a free and independent media. Thankfully, the European Union stepped in to help. We founded a radio station in the violent Sahel region. Basically, that's the northern part of Africa, where most of the Islamic fundamentalism is coming from. So what was the concept behind this Radio-Free Africa? Giving a voice to the oppressed, debating ideas, promoting democracy and the rule of law? No. The EU-funded radio station plays only music. Because nothing says peace like reggae in a war zone. No wonder that the European Union got the Nobel Peace Prize. And the irony? Music is strictly forbidden by the Islamist warlords controlling the area. I'm sure you all heard about the race for Africa, where the European Union, the USA and China are trying to butter up to African leaders to get access to their rare earth materials and infrastructure. It is vital for the EU to stay ahead of China in this race, right? That's why EU recently boasted about funding 62 industrial parks to be constructed, expanded or improved. So, what did the Court of Auditors found when they went back to check these parks? They discovered that 33 out of the 62 parks simply didn't exist. And this must be the African version of trickle-down economics. Half of the government subsidies goes to bureaucratic development and the other part simply goes to outright corruption. These are just a few of the examples of ridiculous waste of money documented by the EU Court of Auditors. But don't think the EU isn't taking this seriously. Of course, swift and decisive action is taken. So, did the EU redouble its effort to fight waste and fraud of EU taxpayers' money? No, you wouldn't believe the solution. Do you remember the great European leader Herman van Rompuy?
The question that I want to ask, that we're all going to ask, is who are you? I'd never heard of you. Nobody in Europe had ever heard of you.
Clearly, not everyone does. But he was the president of the European Union that in 2013 came up with a different solution. He demanded that Europe's official auditors toned down their criticism of Brussels spending to avoid negative press coverage and to promote the European Union's image. So, for the EU, the way to fight fraud and waste is quite simple. Just stop the auditors from talking about it. Isn't that brilliant?